All right. Welcome, everyone. This is a brand new podcast that we started. It is called The Heart Connection. I am John Toivonen. Joining me today, and as always, is going to be Miss Diane Bishop. Diane, how are we doing today?
I'm doing great, John. Good to be here.
Oh, yes. And for those that are just tuning in here, this is the start of our podcast. We are both survivors, and we'll get into our stories in just a little bit. First of all, I do want to recognize the organizations that are helping us put this together and put this on YouTube and some other socials. So first of all, Rock from the Heart. So Rock from the Heart is an organization that directly deals with aortic disease and education on that. So there are two events that we have every year, and I say we because I also do volunteer for them. So there are two events that we have every year, and uh, they are a symposium on Friday, and like this year, it's Friday, February 13th, is the first weekend that we're going to have coming up in 2026. So with that, we will be down in Shakopee at Canterbury Downs for that for the Valentine's weekend, and then we're also going to have a concert on Saturday, excuse me, there as well. Band and all that information to be released here soon. So follow rockfromtheheart.org or Rock from the Heart on Facebook. I believe we're on Instagram as well. And then you can also follow on Facebook, and Diane will talk about it here in just a second, but also Aortic Health Unlimited, which is Diane's organization that I also help with as well. So Diane, why don't you talk a little bit about Aortic Health Unlimited?
Aortic Health Unlimited is a organization that I founded after my event that I had. Unfortunately, it's after my incident that had happened back over 18 years ago. I am a survivor, and I had to where I had dissected and end up going to the hospital and were given only 1% chance to live. I've had emergency open heart surgery, and that was the day that my whole world turned upside down and I had to learn to adjust to things. But the way Aortic Health Unlimited came as a survivor, as a patient, I had to adjust to certain things while in the hospital and at home. For example, when they came in and bring us the medication, the little Dixie cups, with all the medication you're under, I was feeling stuff on me. I was having trouble finding a piece of paper or or a pen to write with so I could ask questions to the doctor so I could write things down. I had stuff before we left the hospital. Very first and foremost that's important is everyone has to have a blood pressure cuff. And the reason for that, you have to evaluate and monitor your blood pressure. That is your new best friend. And as an everyday average person, especially when you have an emergency situation, not everybody has the availability to jump up and sure, here's a blood pressure cuff. It's a whole new thing that you have to buy. There's a whole thing that you have to adjust to with the change of medication. Might start you at 100 milligram of this, then they tell you take 50 of this. Then you got to go to the pharmacy and get that 50 milligrams. So in my mind, and with the permission of the doctors, they told me that I could take and cut it in half. So that was another item that we put in there. Pill cutter, a pill organizer to put your medication in there for the week so you won't forget. You get a journal with a pen to write on. You get a hand sanitizer, a cup with a lid on it so you don't spill your stuff. And we put the gripper socks in there because they give you some in the hospital, but they tend to be stretchy. And by the time I wake up in the morning, if I have the socks on, they'll be on the floor. They slip off. So we enclose so much things that you could use, and a little gift for you to keep your mind busy. And it all comes in a beautiful drawstring bag that you could use while you're in the hospital or carry your things with you to and from the doctor visit. Now, why this is very important is, again, I have known people that have told me that they could not afford blood pressure cuff and they just don't have one. They just went the way they felt. And any doctor will tell you the importance of having one and getting monitor to have one and to document and to keep up with your medication. It's so important, John, and you know that. I mean,
Mhm.
that's your new
Yep.
best friend. And all this, John, Aortic Health Unlimited gives it to newly dissected patients for free. Why? Because we want to give you a chance to adjust to life so you could live the best that you can with this illness, because it's not always easy. And me, after 18 years, I've had my ups and downs. But again, this is absolutely free to newly dissected and aortic related patients. I mean, it's just something that's very important. My heart's to it. And it enclosed, we give you pamphlets of other organizations that is out there that you could get help from. Why? It is important to share information, to give you other options. And I am a true believer, share. And there's so much places you could get help. You're not alone. And it's very important that as a patient, everybody knows that you're not alone and you could get help out there. And it don't have to cost you because Aortic Health Unlimited is here. And again, it is to you for free to newly diagnosed people. And we are even at UAB Hospital. We're working on getting it throughout the countries through physicians' office so they can personally give it to them that comes, anyone that comes in, hey, you have to have surgery. Here is something that would help you, to get adjusted and some things that you may like to have and need. And who don't like something as a free gift anyhow? But we're so passionate. We're so passionate. We collaborate with Rock from the Heart and other organizations. And again, it's so important to help one another. I do work with very deeply with Rock from the Heart. I will continue to do so. And I do work as well as I'm ambassador of Aortic Hope and run my organization, Women's Only Group, and the Aortic Artist. I try to give back to the community and I try to have and give other people options of places to go to and to have feel more comfortable. And also, I want to thank you, John, for all of y'all out there to let you know that John is joined Aortic Health Unlimited and is where he is vice president of this organization. And he is helping spread awareness and give these important resources to others out there. And thank you for volunteering, doing so much because you are a patient as well. And I'm curious, can you share with us a little bit on what happened to you, John?
Yes, yeah, I'll get into that here in just a second. I do want to double back the heart connection here with myself and Diane. If you guys have any questions or want to reach out to us at all, John at rockfromtheheart.org. So Jon at rockfromtheheart.org. Please email with any questions, stories, or anything like that. Would love to hear from
Mhm.
you. You can find all this information also at Rock from the Heart's Facebook page, as well as
Mhm.
rockfromtheheart.org and Aortic Health Unlimited. So if you want to know any more information about those care packages, you can reach those sites. Also, there is a place to donate as well, and you can specifically donate towards this cause. So, getting into a little bit about what happened to me, I as well had an aortic dissection back in 2019. In fact, October 23rd of 2019, I just had my 6 year anniversary. Um, I had a aortic sleeve and a mechanical valve put in my heart, and then had some complications. Had to have another surgery, open heart surgery, in February of 2020, and just to repair uh, I had some issues with an artery in my heart, so they actually had to do a bypass. Well, that the bypass, the old artery started working again. And so there was some complications there, and they had to go in and fix it. And then after, in 2023, I actually got an infection, and all my aortic sleeve and my mechanical valve had to come out. So now it's been a struggle since then, and we'll obviously get a little bit more into my story and what has happened since then. And and that's what we're going to kind of transition into now is we're going to talk about you, Diana. We're going to talk about you and the days and weeks and months and all that stuff that is after your event. So that is one thing with the Heart Connection that we really want to focus on is the survivors and surviving after the fact. Once again, we are not medical professionals. We don't claim to be medical professionals. There is no medical advice given on this show whatsoever. What this is just our opinions, and we're sharing our experiences to hopefully help someone else out someday. So, talking about your heart event, you talked about the aortic dissection. Uh, what were some of the things that they did during that surgery? If you can elaborate a little bit more as they did with the repair, anything with your valves or anything like that.
Yes, they went ahead and they patched up a little bit of the aorta, and the other it's I somehow did not know nothing about a abdominal aneurysm, but at that time it was not big enough to operate. So they told me when it hits 5.0 centimeters that that's the time when it'd be essential to operate. It was a watch and wait. And so was the regurgitating heart valve. I was having trouble with that as well, but they said it wasn't regurgitating enough to do anything about. And being that this is the heart connection, and I'm hoping and I want this to be raw and true, and everyone to be able to express themselves freely. I want to tell you, for me personally, the watch and wait for me was hard and seemed like to be brutal. Why? You're already dealing with an illness you know nothing about. You're having to adjust for it. You got these strange feelings. I'm going to bed. I can't lay on my back. There's changes to your bodies that's happening. You don't know what's wrong. You're thinking in your mind, you know something's wrong, but they cannot fix it yet or won't fix it till it hit a certain whatever you want to call it. And to me, it almost seems cruel, John. I mean, am I legitimate in the feeling like this?
Yeah, I mean it's so kind of just to educate people out there a little bit about more dissection wise. Descending dissection is one that is happens in your essentially in your belly. Ascending happens near your heart where the aorta goes into your heart. I had an ascending, and I had a dissection. I had no aneurysm. Um, so I, I mean when it comes to this, I had no clue what an aortic dissection was until I had
Mhm.
it. And I had no idea what kind of surgery, how they did the repairs or anything. I didn't know what happened essentially until I woke up from my surgery. And that's how I found out about all this stuff. And so over the course of 6 years, educating ourselves and going to events like Rock from the Heart, like the things that you do with Aortic Health Unlimited, Aortic Hope, things like that, We've learned a lot over the course of a couple of years. Once again, we're still not professionals. A lot of this is opinion, um, but there is a lot of information that you can find out there. Things that you discuss with your cardiologist, your your main care provider when there's concerns. So yeah, I mean you're totally right on the right track with that, for sure.
Well,
And so and so now when you're talking about your event, we're talked about your event. We talked about the things that you had done. What was the recovery like for you in the hospital? Like how long were you there? What were there any complications right after the surgery?
everything, when I was in the hospital, everything went as planned according to them because everything's new. I had no clue on what was normal. Was it okay for me to feel this way? Uh, I had to learn a lot. And uh, according to them, the surgery was over 5.5 hours. And my recovery time, uh, it was, it was to me, it was hard. It was so new. It's just like, who does this? And it seemed cruel. I mean, when they start at one end and cut you down here, and someone that tells you, you know, oh, it wasn't no problem and stuff. I mean, at some point, I mean, to me, it was hard, but it was perfectly normal to them because I was on schedule. There wasn't no complications. The only complication that I'm having is adjusting, and to this day, like I said, I'm 18 years out, and I'm still having trouble from adjusting my medication. I'm 60 years old and also suffer from systemic lupus erythematosus that affects other things. So I'm battling two things and trying to adjust one for the other without complicating the other medication. But it was I found it hard. And I had a second surgery to where when they did decide it was, I think 4 years ago, I did have my valve replaced, and they put in a bovine valve, and I feel okay, a lot better. I was wondering, it's like, why in the hell they didn't fix this sooner? Because I could walk farther distance without gasping for air. And for anyone don't know, whenever you're in pain and gasping for air, it's hard to walk. It's hard to
Hmm.
breathe. And I was
It is.
sweating profusely.
Yep.
And then having hot flash from normal causes. I mean, I don't know what's normal or not. My whole world just seemed like I was messed up between what is it, menopause, lupus, and this, and then your hormone. I don't know if it goes the same as a man as it does for a woman, but recovering from this, I went through the 5 stages, through the anger, denial,
Mhm.
bargaining, acceptance, and the other one. I went through that. And honestly, from time to time, I go into a black hole depression. And I'm a lot better now. And it's okay for those of you out there saying, "Well, I feel depressed and don't seem like my husband listens to me and stuff." And I was highly active and be able to go, do dishes and keep on going without having to stop. But I've learned to adjust, and I learned to put myself first also. And that was a hard thing. And I'm still struggling doing that because I consider to be very active and very given person, and I got to prioritize and remember, slow down, Diane, because if I don't, I'm going to go with a hard crash, and I'm down for a couple of days after that,
Mhm.
and that's to this day. But honestly, what was a tragedy to me, I'm losing my health, and it is a loss. It is a loss when you have aortic dissection and its related illness. It's a loss. But for me, I learned to take my tragedy into a blessing. Because honestly, it took me almost dying literally to start living. Because what I didn't do before, I do now. I don't take things for granted. I'm not saying I was a selfish person by no means, but the simplest thing, just walking, holding my grandkids, even doing the dishes. I used to bitch about doing the dishes. Hey, at least I could get up and do the dishes. It may take me a while, but I could do it. But I learned, I see things so much different, so much difference. And I hope and pray that everyone out there, you won't do it right off the bat. What I went through and what I overcame did not happen overnight, but it's within time. I see beauty in life. I see beauty in the simplest thing. I see beauty in just anything. And I'm truly happy. And it may sound crazy, but again, you don't know what you have until it's gone or it's almost gone. And that saying is so true, John.
Yeah, absolutely. And you make some really good points there, which I think a lot of people are scared when this happens. I mean, like I would say that the
Mhm,
recovery is 10 times worse than what the actual event was. I mean, the recovery because you get out of the
mhm,
hospital, you start back with your life, but you don't know what you don't know. And 18 years ago, they didn't know anything.
mhm,
Like, I mean, they knew stuff,
mhm,
but they knew nothing compared to what I had 6 years ago, and even compared to what there is now. There is so much education, there's so much information out there now that wasn't there when you went through this event that I can't imagine what the
mhm.
recovery was like coming coming out of the hospital and now coming home. So talk a little bit about how was the adjustment to your home life starting out when you came home, and it maybe doesn't even have to be in the days, but maybe, the weeks and months after you came home. What are some of the
Mhm.
things that you remember were the biggest adjustments you had to make?
The biggest adjustment, when you come home, you have friends and family around you and stuff. But sooner or later, people go home. They got to go home
Mm,
to tend to their own life, and that's when it sets in. When things starts to settle down to the basics, and when my husband was home, I felt when he had to bathe me, help me bathe, I felt like a helpless child.
mhm.
It's almost not so much degrading, but it's what you feel. And you,
Yeah.
you can't help the way you feel, but you feel helpless. Your husband's here or your wife is bathing you or helping, to feed you, which at times, I couldn't, he had to help me at times.
Mm,
He had to help me put my panties on, my pants on, my pajamas on. He tried to comb my hair, and us women, he, and it's almost a feeling of hopelessness to some time because it's like what you say, you don't know what you don't know. And it
mhm.
wasn't till I adjusted, till I done research and learned about things. And that's why it's so important. I mean, not everything, you can't believe everything you read in the internet, but that's when I found other organizations out there and other people, and you share things with other people, and that's where I found strength and power is through other people's story and their experiences because they knew firsthand what I was going through. But and then adjusting, like the laundry as a wet clothes, trying to do laundry, that was another hard one. And to this day, I will not take wet clothes out of the dryer. I'll throw them in, but my husband's got to get them wet clothes, throw them from the wash machine to the dryer because it's heavy and it takes more of my strength, even after all these years. But it was hard. And what was uh, the most difficult uh realizing time for me is just like my husband went to work. It was just me and the dogs and the bird. Okay, Diane, you got to get up, go to the bathroom.
Hmm.
And honest to goodness, and y'all know that sometimes the medication is not kind to your stomach. You may
Hmm.
be have some reaction, and there you have an accident. I was stuck in that position. It's like, okay, I gotta get this off me. And trying to get into the shower. Got into the shower, getting out, and I took and I fell. And I remember just laying on the ground in fetal position. It's just like asking God, why this is so cruel.
Yeah,
I
and
needed
that,
someone. Hmm.
yeah, and that's the part that my friends don't see, that your acquaintances probably don't see, is they see us at our best. They and that's one of the
Exactly.
things with the Heart Connection that we want to get the message out there and for people to listen and to be impacted by, is the fact that you're not alone. Even though you
Hmm.
feel like you're alone, you feel like, when people say, hey, how you doing? Some days you just want to say,
Hmm.
I'm doing fine, because you don't want to get
Hmm.
into it. You don't want to tell them that, I threw up twice this morning, or
Right.
I couldn't get off the couch, I couldn't get out of bed, you know, have those issues. Those are things that happen that people don't see behind closed doors, that on the surface we look fine, but really we're not. And
Hmm.
and this doesn't happen to everybody. I'm not saying that this is a cookie cutter type of
No,
situation that everyone's going
no.
to have these complications. It's part of the reason why we're talking about this. It's part of the reason why we're going to have other guests on our show as
Hmm.
well to talk about what their experiences are, because some people have their repair and they have no complications and they go fine and they do great and it's awesome, and
Hmm.
I cheer for those people, because
Yes.
I envy that. I wish that were the case with me, and it's just not. And there's a lot of people out there that did recover well and are doing just fine and have had no more complications. And there's other people like us that have had many complications from
Hmm.
the start. So you talked a little bit about your lupus earlier. Now, tell me and tell us a little bit more about how that affects not only what you have going on and what you had happen with your aortic dissection, but then also the struggles that you have with lupus. How do you manage this?
Well, with the lupus, I did not know that's lupus. There's It's very hard to diagnose, and I did not know that I had it ever since I was a little girl. Just remembering that wouldn't want to eat. I was tired. I'll get out in the sun, and I had what they called the butterfly rash. Uh, to always stay sick, and it wasn't till I was about 24 to when I kept on getting sick. And even with the test before, which I was tested for lupus, it took about the fifth or sixth time when they found a bunch of antibodies and some blood works were done. And that's how it was found. And it is an autoimmune disease. Some of it just affects your skin, other is your internal organ. For me, I have a lot of kidney problems and stay tired a lot, fatigued a lot, um, anxiety, uh,
And
nauseated.
and how does that, so in addition to that, you talk about the lupus, that it affects your kidneys. How about the medications that you take as well on top of it that also affect your kidneys? Because there's a lot of different medications we take that do that.
Exactly. And that was trial and error. I've had so much medicine that they tried me on and others wouldn't agree. I was one time they put me on some type of sulfa drug. And I woke up, my face was blue, and it's just like, what is happening? It turned out that I'm allergic to sulfa drugs.
Hmm.
But a lot of things, and it's so hard to determine for me what is when I'm having these anxiety or whenever my kidneys are hurting. what is the lupus part opposed to the aortic or dissection or me
Sure.
having trouble breathing? Is it related from the lupus, or is it
Yeah.
me from the dissection doing too much, get my blood pressure? And we all know that blood pain can cause your blood pressure to spike. And you may not have a situation going on, but when you're in pain, it will make your blood pressure go up.
Hmm.
So what is causing this? Why is this? And it's a pain in the butt, to be honest. But again, after all these years, I've learned to adjust. Learn your body, listen to your body. You and only you know what is happening and what is normal for you. What John Doe says he has don't mean that you have, and it's
Hmm.
what it's causing it.
Yep.
So it's very important. Be your advocate, your own advocate.
Very
Stay
important.
in good contact with your doctor. Find a good doctor,
Hmm.
especially nowadays. I'm sorry, but it's hard for me to say that there's very good doctors out there because some of them won't take the time of day. They're in a hurry. Find one that listens to you,
Yes,
that cares
absolutely.
about you.
Yep. And that's a good point because your care team is very important. Not only your care team at home, but your care team at the clinic, at the hospital, things like that, right? So I have actually, and I say this, it's the easiest way to say it. I've fired two doctors because of the way that I was treated and the way that I didn't jive with
Yes.
them. And that's okay. And you know what? They're not offended either. They just move on
Hmm.
and they go to one of their other 5,000 patients. I mean, and I'm not saying that they're just writing you off, but they have a lot
Hmm.
on their plate as well, and they're dealing with a
Hmm.
lot as well. So if you're not jiving with that person, it's time to get a new
Um,
person. And right now, my care team, it feels like I've built my care team. You
hmm.
know, I'm messaging. In fact, I got a message from my doctor here just a couple minutes ago that I'm gonna have to read because of issues that I will get into next episode when we talk about me.
Hmm.
But right now we're talking about you. So, but yes, that is very important. The care team has got to be on your side as well. And if they're not, like I said, it's okay to let them go. It's okay to move on.
Hmm.
It's okay to say, I'm not jiving with that person. I don't necessarily agree. It's good to get a second opinion. It really is. And that is actually pouring over into the medical community as well. Some of the
Hmm.
medical providers that we talk to are recognizing, and a little bit of the younger generation as well, becoming doctors, becoming cardiologists, and things like that. It's more patient-centric focused. It seems like,
Hmm.
and and once again, that's not a knock on people that have been doctors for a long time because there's a plenty of providers that care for everyone just like the younger people in the older generation. It's just to say that there's a lot of different personalities and there's a lot of different doctors out there. Find the one that you mesh with.
Hmm.
And and I found that, and I'm assuming that you're probably in that same boat because I see you all the time posted on Facebook talking about your blood pressure, which I
Yeah.
want to get into next. Talk about your
Ooh.
blood pressure, talk about the struggles you're having, talk about what's going on, and what are some of the things that you're doing to fix it, medication changes, anything like that.
Mhm. Some of the things. Well, my blood pressure again. I am very active. I'm one. I used to be good jumping up early in the morning, but now I find it difficult, which is something that I had to adjust to. So I'll take my medicine in the morning, just lay there till I feel okay. I could do this. But I'm very active, and I do work a lot. At home, I'm I care a lot about people, and I guess I get too much emotional investment on some things to where I care so much, and I want to help somebody, and I feel like
Diane,
I can't.
Diane has a big heart. It's a repaired heart, but it's a big heart. Let me tell you.
It is. It's so. But the thing that I found is, for one thing, I do is in the morning is when I take my medication, I lay in the bed or sit inside the bed. I do take a moment of time to pray. A lot of people don't like to talk about prayer or meditation. I'm here to tell you, whatever religion you are, whatever you believe in, if it makes
Mhm.
you feel good or whatever, you're not hurting nobody. You believe in the higher power, whatever it may be. Do it if it's helping you.
Whatever
And
works for you.
yes, whatever works. I do that every morning. I do meditate. I do love light. Get up and I light my uh wax. I love the wax and aromatherapy.
Mm.
A lot of you have seen my fish tank, and oh, at nighttime it's so pretty. I have a large fish tank that I like to sit and watch. I got funky looking creatures. I've got an eel in there. I've got a shark. I've got some glowfish in there, some cories, and it's relaxing. It's crazy, but it really is relaxing. I like to watch them and going in and out of the crevices and eating, and it is relaxing. You could try that. You could try meditation. You could try, I do some stretches. I do try to stretch because with pain in my joint, and that's one big problem. A lot, if you ever know me, met me, I do walk with a wobble and stuff, but it's because that I'm in pain. I'm being
Hmm.
truthful, and I'm off balance sometimes, but it's what I do. I still keep going, but um, I try to drink some tea, anything that I find comfort in. I try to do that to get by. Now the doctors are working with me. The last 2 weeks has been very bad for me, running over 210 to 119 to 190 over 109. I went like that for a whole week to where they think they got me something now to where my blood pressure is. They added two more medication and it is down to 100 over 59. But
That's good.
it helps, but it's very good. But I'm not used to it, John, and I get so lightheaded and dizzy.
Mm.
But my body has not adjusted, so that has been added. So we're going to see how that goes. But as long as everything else, holding my grandkids is so fun too.
Yeah, and that's an
Anything that makes me happy.
yeah, and the effects on blood pressure have to do with social events as well too, right? Like you just talked
Yes.
about. Um, when it comes to your blood pressure, there is a standard out there. I believe it's 120 over 75 or 80 or something like that
80. Yeah.
is normal, and then you get into pre-hypertension
Mhm,
and hypertension.
mhm.
Um, some people run high, some people run low. Like you
Right.
said, you've been used to running high. So when you're low,
Ooh.
you're low. And I used to run high too as well. And I got into it to a spot one time where my blood pressure actually registered at 54 over 25, I believe. Um, that was low. That was really low. I was a little
You
dizzy.
think?
I couldn't walk. Uh, but normally, so now I normally run around 115 over 65 is about what I run. And
Mhm,
sometimes I have to hold, like, say, my Coreg, for example, because
mhm,
it does affect my blood pressure. Sometimes I have to hold it because my blood pressure is just a little too low, and if I take it, I might get dizzy. I might get down in that,
mhm.
95 over 55, and that's low. That's low for
Right.
me. Some people can run. My mother-in-law
Yeah.
runs normal at that 95 over 55. It seems like so. I can
Mhm,
say that because she's in the same room, but
mhm.
yeah, there's totally basically what we're getting at is it's a feel, right? It's a dance that we do. Your body is the
Every
lead.
day.
If you're dancing the waltz, your body's the lead, and you just let your body take the lead and you listen to it. And
Mhm.
that's also to bring back the care team. That's also a good point. My care team knows when I reach out to them, I mean business. They know that I know my body. They know I know what's going on. If I have a medication change or I have a medication problem or issue, I message them and I tell them, listen, this isn't working. Like you said, be an advocate for yourself, as well as if you have a spouse, a significant other, a mom, a dad, someone that's helping you, a sister, a brother. a cousin, it doesn't matter, but it, it help have them be advocates for you as well. But if you don't speak up,
Mhm.
you're not gonna
No,
you're
they
not gonna
know.
get a change. And some people will just listen to whatever their doctor says, which that's not a bad stance to take. But if you're not feeling well, you got to get to the bottom of it. And like I said, we'll get into more of my story in the next episode. So a little teaser, little tidbit teaser for
Mhm.
people if they want to join in. If you're enjoying what you're hearing on the Heart Connection, we're planning on having it every other Sunday. November 9th, obviously, is our first episode here. And so we'll kind of just go from there, and you'll be able to find that information out on Rock from the Heart Facebook page, also Aortic Unlimited Facebook page as well. And you might see some shorts on YouTube, Rock from the Heart YouTube's page. So this is how you listen to it. We will repost it on our socials, but also it is going to be posted there on YouTube as well. So search for Rock from the Heart. Subscribe. It's helpful when you subscribe, like, share everything that you can do to help us out because we're here. We don't do this for money. We don't do this
Mhm.
for recognition. We don't do this for anything. Like I don't ever want to be paid a dime for anything that's related to the information that I like to put out there and the volunteerism that I do. And the more that you can help financially to the organizations that need the help, that's where we want to focus. So please go to
Mhm.
rockfromtheheart.org. There's a donate button there. You can donate. You can specifically donate to the show if you want. Hey, I want to hear more. Donate to the show. That gives us the ability to do more things with this, more equipment, more stuff anyway. So now what I want to do with you right now is I want you to wrap this in a present, in a bow, wrap a bow around what you have going on for today. Because obviously, in our journey through the heart connection as well, we'll be still getting into some of the complications that we have and giving our updates on our health because it's important that people know that we are willing to share that. Sometimes there's people that can't voice that because they don't feel like they want to, anxiety, things like that. I have PTSD, I have anxiety, I have
Yeah.
meds that I have things that I do to take care of that, but that's what we want is we want to help people along the way. So please, if you can,
Mm.
go to those sites. We'll get in more to when we get closer to our Rock from the Heart events and things like that. So let's put a bow on this for you for right now. What do you have to say to anybody that's going through the first stages of their survival? They've either had an aortic dissection, an aneurysm, a valve replacement, something to that effect, even cancer. I mean, like this isn't just subjected to heart people. There's all sorts of types of surviving. So put a bow on this. What kind of advice can you give to people surviving after the fact?
Okay. First of all, I want to tell you most important, listen to your body. All this is fine and dandy, what so says, so and so this, but listen to your body. You could seek for advice. No one's medical professional, but listen to your body. It's so important. Advocate for yourself, as we spoke about earlier. Because if you don't tell somebody your doctor and have a good relationship with your doctor or your caregiver, they have to know you have to have a good relationship with them, and you only get one heart. Take care of it. Take care of it the best that you can. Take care of your loved ones. Most important, and we didn't get into it. Your depression. That's one thing that I battle with every day. Yes, it's real. PTSD and memory loss is real. We could get into that later. But
Yes.
please, and that's something that I struggle, that I get depressed about, and I'm hard on myself. But have a good relationship and with your healthcare professional, and know you are not alone. There's other organization out there. There is Aortic Health Unlimited. We have been providing these care packages for about 9+ years, and it's very dear to our heart, and we give them out there to those newly dissected, or if those that need help of any kind, please let us know. Or if you cannot contact me and Aortic Health Unlimited, please contact John. Also, Rock from the Heart, they increase awareness. They use music and gather people together to have an educational event. Try to educate yourself, because it's a scary thing.
Mhm.
Education's important. Seek support of another. Know that you're not alone. And one place you could go to, you have Aortic Hope, is a whole new community itself. There's tons of every one of these three groups. Nobody gets paid any of this. We are here to help one another, unite one another, togetherness, and give information out there to anyone that needs help. We are here. Please reach out to somebody, speak to somebody.
Exactly. That you make a great point, and I like that you said you're not alone, and that is the truth. Um, there's many people like out
Absolutely.
there like us that aren't. It's not the same. It's not, like I said, it's not cookie cutter. This journey of survival,
No,
it'll take you on many different courses, and sometimes I talk to people and I'm like,
exactly.
wow, I can't believe that happened to you. And sometimes I talk to people like,
Mhm.
same thing. I had the exact same thing happen to me. So, uh, Diane, thank you. As my co-host, technically you're our first guest as well. Thank you for sharing
You.
everything that you did share today. I think it'll be very helpful and impactful for the listeners moving forward. So once again, I just want to double back socials. Rock from the Heart. You can check it out, rockfromtheheart.org for the website, Rock from the Heart on Facebook. There's plenty of stuff information that comes out on there uh, that's posted every single day. Uh, it's a lot of good information. Right now, they're having an auction, holiday auction, that I think you got some items over to
Yeah.
Amy. Amy and Pete Johnson are the founders of that. Their story
Mhm.
is on rockfromtheheart.org as well. Uh,
Mhm.
but there's an auction going on right now. All that money goes to these events that we do and helping fund these events and the education that we put out there. Uh, Aortic Health Unlimited on Facebook. Follow us, share, share your story, like everything that you possibly can. We're here for you. Once again, you want to reach out to the show, John, Jon, at rockfromtheheart.org. So please email me as well. So, with that, episode one, you're outside. I'm in Minnesota. You're in Alabama. Roll Tide.
Beautiful.
Uh,
Row Tide.
and here it's 35 degrees. I'm not outside. It was snowing earlier today, so
Ooh,
um, it was. So Roll Tide. I see you got your Alabama shirt on. Tomorrow is college
that's
football.
it.
I got my NDSU hat on. Go Bison. My daughter is goes to NDSU. I was able to check out their football team a couple weeks ago. Obviously, they've won a few national championships. I believe it's 11 total. So we'll talk a little football on our show too, because we have vested interest in our football programs, right? I lots of stuff that Diane does on Facebook as for with the Alabama team as well. A lot of these events that she's
Mhm.
holding, she's going out. Great work that you do. So once again, thank you, Diane,
Thank
for
you.
sharing your story today.
Thank you,
As
John.
it's getting dark out there, it's getting dark out here. You can see we should probably go ahead and end our show. Before we end our show, though, I definitely want to I want to talk about a little bit of the format. So obviously, we're going to talk about surviving after the fact. Once again, this is the Heart Connection. I'm John Toivonen, Diane Bishop, host and co-host, and this part of the segment will end the show. And I want to end the show with my final thought. So my final thought today for you comes from Nick Saban, a quote from Nick Saban. This is very important to me. It's a speech that I saw him do um, a year or so ago um, on stage, and he's actually talked about this a lot. He actually talks about the three things that you need to have success. The number one is the most important, though. And here's a quote from Nick Saban: Have compassion for other people. Treat people like you would like to be treated. Treat people nicely on your way up. You might need them on the way down. It's nice to be important, but it's also more important to be nice. And that's my final thought for the day. I want to leave our listeners with that. Um, Inspirational. Once again, Nick Saban. How can you go wrong? One of the greatest uh, college coaches of all time. So, once again, thank you, Diane. Rock from the heart. Aortic Health Unlimited. Follow us on Facebook.
Mhm.
Go to YouTube. Share everything that you possibly can. Every time you share, it helps us get the word out there and the message out there. So with that, we're gonna say goodnight, and we'll see you guys again in a couple of weeks. Thank you very much. Next time, it's my story. So tune in. Here we go. Thank you much. Have a good night.
Yay.